Senator Kaine.
I wish I had 40 minutes of questions, but I'm going to try to do it in 5. I'm going to ask a question first to you, Mr. Yulesman, but anyone else who wants to weigh in, I would appreciate it. How important is public service loan forgiveness as a component of affordability?
Thank you for the question, Senator. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program I think it's a really powerful program because it was a bipartisan program. It was signed into law by George W. Bush, and effectively the promise that it makes is that if you want to serve your country or your community, college debt or the price of college should not be something that holds you back from doing that. And I believe, and I'm worried about, an administration that has increasingly tried to weaponize the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and potentially, rescind eligibility for people who don't necessarily share their ideology. But it can be a really powerful tool in not only helping people understand that college is for them, right? That loans aren't going to be a lifetime burden for them. It's only 10 years if they commit 10 years to public service. And I worry that the more that we politicize the program, the more that power goes away.
Do others also agree that the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program is a positive for students and families?
Yes, I could speak to that directly as being a recipient of public service loan forgiveness. Just looking at the industries in general, and we look at the assessment of what students are making after they graduate, many that land in the nonprofit sector in some of these essential roles like childcare and teachers and counselors, that becomes the benefit of being able to serve in that way in terms of being able to have access to public service loan forgiveness, because you don't make a lot of money. And that is a sacrifice that you're making when you choose those industries. And as someone who is from the city of Detroit, students from these type of communities usually lean and aspire to the roles in which they needed the most support from. So being able to have the opportunity of to pursue what you needed most as a youth in terms of your professional career and not be indebted with this aspect of this lifelong debt hold to pursue that career to actually provide services to your community. Yes, it's a wonderful, and I say this personally as someone who's received it and been able to commit my career to giving back to students.
This is something I think we need to pay some special attention to. During the first Trump administration, the Department of Education only approved less than 1% of those who were eligible for a public service loan forgiveness. During the 4 years of the Biden administration, 33,000 Virginians received public service loan forgiveness. Really, really important program. There is a regulation that the DOE has proposed that would suggest the possibility of conditioning loan forgiveness on the kind of organization you work for and the political views they may hold. That's very dangerous, but I'm also really concerned about just the sheer numbers of who gets approved and who doesn't. We need to watch that going forward. Mr. Dreger, you talked about the statistics that you brought up really interested me about people think college is too expensive, but they dramatically overestimate the costs. And that's something that we really need to get at. If you're in a hotel and you look at the rack rate that's on the door, it's like 10 times what you paid for the room. No one thinks that's the real cost that you're paying. But a lot of people, and this happened when I was a kid, I got accepted to a number of colleges, and my parents then had to come and say, you know what? We've realized we can't afford any of these schools, because it was confusing in 1976. It's more confusing now. One thing that I think really works, and Dr. Cooper, you're a Mason grad, 50% of George Mason students start in community college. And on graduation day, you can't tell from GPA who started in community college. You can't tell from the jobs they're getting or the graduate programs they're going to. But the one way you can tell is how much debt they have. Virginia used to not have articulation agreements between community colleges and the 4 years, so you didn't know when you got an associate degree, is that 2 years of credit or a year of credit? And you also didn't know that you'd be guaranteed admission to a state school. So I think articulation agreements and transparency and families understanding that you could start in community college and then go to Mason or go to UVA and you get the degree, but you get it at a pretty significant discount over what you would pay 4 years at the institution. What can we do to more, in a more powerful way, present these kinds of alternatives, or dual enrollment for high school students? I went through the University of Missouri in 3 years because I had dual enrollment in high school. That saved my parents 25% of the cost of a college education. But a lot of people either don't know about those programs or they may go to schools that don't have access to them. And now my time's up, just after I've asked this great question. Could I let him tackle it a little bit? Thank you.
I'll answer very quickly and just say what we heard from students and families in our focus group was right information at the right time helps them make the right decision. So if we can get information early in high school about the costs and the pathways, and they don't see themselves in averages. The question they're asking is, what will it cost me? So these net price calculators, if they can enter a basic amount of information and get a real price back that will impact them and show them a pathway, whether it's a 2-year articulated agreement or a dual enrollment, that helps them choose a pathway early in high school that will lead them to a value proposition and an ROI to help them make the right choice.
Thank you.